Oh, my God. Okay. We're gonna talk about this. I've I've said before I wasn't gonna watch this show anymore, and I got roped into watching it again. This is without the doubt the worst Star Wars show I've ever watched. I mean, I've said that before, but this is like a deep-seated hatred I have against this show. It's not even, it's like a passionate hatred uh for th- this episode in particular. I thought episode 3 was the worst, but this one is like the Snyder cut of episode 3, where there's like added scenes to it that just make it worse. It is undoubtedly the worst flashback. The Mind you, the worst. Uh, I didn't want to go into this just ripping it because I wanted to talk about it, but it's easy to hate on things more it is to like, and that's kind of become a common discussion. We'll talk about that. The difference between hating something and liking. If you like this garbage, good, go ahead. I'm glad. I'm glad you like this garbage. I'm glad you like this show. You like this show. Good for you. You want to clap. I'll clap. I'll pat your back and. Okay. Turn this down. We're gonna keep the Sugar Plum Fairy. This music kind of represents my mind when it comes to this show. Um, it's it's it is mind-boggling how something like this was. I haven't even started talking about the show, and I'm already ripping it. Like that's how. Like I'm just frustrated. I literally like. I got off work yesterday, and by the way, everyone, I'm moving, so there's gonna be a hiatus on the channel. I'm moving this week, so I was busy. And my friend Battlefront Archives, who I'm sure is watching this, he made a bet with me to watch this episode, saying you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, and I didn't even know it came out. It was like, oh, it's Tuesday. I've been so busy moving and stuff. I haven't really been paying attention with the Acolyte. I've been working with my own Acolyte thing with Sonam, my What If writer, and the voice from Maul on like our own thing of. But he told me like you have to watch this latest episode of Acolyte, you know. And then he says if you don't watch it, then I'm not going to talk to you for a while. I guess he was joking around, but I was like, fine, I'll take your bet. We'll watch it in the VC. We'll go on Discord, and we'll just, we will watch this. We will watch this episode. Now, I had not watched the last episode because I'd only seen clips, and Smilo Ren taking a bath, and there was stuff with, I just don't care about the main twins. No one does. I mean, unless you're feeling that way. But I had like my most hated episode of this entire show is episode 3 until episode 7. And this is an extension of episode 3, so I did not know it was going to be the flashback, the what really happened in the past. And my god, I my first, my friend Battlefront Archives, he's like, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's just predictable." And then as soon as we started watching it, I think he was lying. I think he didn't watch it yet, but I pointed out something, and then me and him just started laughing controllably because we couldn't take that image out of our heads. Um God. So before we get okay, I I watched this episode last night. I did. I and I'm gonna so before we get into it, I just want to read the chat. See if anyone's in the chat listening. And there's a lot of Acolyte streams going on right now, and let's see who's on. Starlight, hello. Ancient Sith, Chris and Susie, hello. JX Editor, good episode this week. Darth Vader, chat is dry as fuck. I just want to make sure I'm right. Isn't there only one more episode now? Yes. JX Editor, loved your edits. Good, I know. Ficon, how you doing, my friend? All right. I think we're caught up. So let's talk about everything wrong. Well, I don't want to get into the negative. Is there anything good in this episode? Nah, there's nothing good in this episode. But first of all, I want to talk about the stuff I pointed out that I hated about this episode. And see, I'm saying hate a lot. Hate. You're just a hater. You're just a hater. You're a grifter. You don't like the show. There's a lot of deepness in the show. No, the show's just bad. Shut up. The show is just awful. From a Star Wars standpoint, from a critic standpoint, I think it's just bad television. From a Star Wars standpoint, I think it's just horrible Star Wars. It's a person running the show has, and she didn't write this episode, but she probably oversaw the story. I blame it solely on her and the producer, Kathleen Caddy, for approving this garbage. This is what the whole show is based off of. This flashback involving these 4 Jedi and witches. The audacity to do some of the things that happen in this episode is the thing I want to talk about. But first of all, I did a meme video this morning, and I want to talk about the thing I pointed out that I got my friend Battlefront Archives laughing about. They are looking for a vergence in the Force. So their whole purpose there is to look for a vergence of the Force. I didn't realize this because I thought they were like Jedi, maybe looking for resources for like the Jedi Temple, and I thought that would be reasonable. That would be a reasonable thing. I mean, it's an odd thing that Jedi are doing that, but this is where you just know they don't care. You just know they don't give a shit. They don't give a damn. They don't understand. They are using metal detectors to look for the Vergence in the Force. And I said to my friend, and I'm going to say to you guys, so Anakin was basically like the spare change in your lawn. The fucking metal detector. I have discovered a Vergence in the Force, as well as my keys on Tatooine in this boy. Could you bring us? Could you bring us the spare change? I just why? Just you could find a Vergence in the Force by just using. Someone said in the comments, so they could have just used these random ass tools. These random ass tools and metal detectors to find the Vergence in the Force, to scan the Force. Scanning the midi-chlorians is one thing, but actually like detecting Force energy using tools like EMP stuff and metal detectors, who approved this? Wouldn't it make sense to like, well, you could easily just fix this up. They're doing mining. getting seeing if this planet can support, resources for the Jedi Temple. And then Saul senses the twins. That's really all you need to do. But they're searching for a Vergence using metal detectors. Oh my god. Oh my god. I I just cannot. I just mm. There are some there are just some this is why I wanted to talk about it. I just think that blah, blah, I can't even speak. I can't even speak. And then you have this emotional Jedi, he's emotional and stuff, uh, crying about, channeling his inner Luke Skywalker and crying about wanting to go back to Coruscant. And he's not. Mm, we are channeling a Vergence using metal detectors. Um, it is without a doubt the most insult. I felt insulted. Like it wasn't even 5 minutes into this episode before I felt insulted. But we're only like 5 minutes into the episode, and yeah, I think we learned that Koro brought Khmer to the dark side. The witches can control you, so that's why they use a Cortez's helmet to prevent that. That theory is interesting, and Kanaka fought was fun, and otherwise this episode was not good. No, it was horrible. Just a redo of episode 3. Starlight, I don't hate the show, but the show is practically dead in the water. I think it's okay until no. I think the first 3 episodes are not good. It's a debate if 4, 5, and 6 are okay. Episode 5 was probably the best of the bunch. But this episode reaffirmed that no, this show's dog shit, and the whole point of the show is based on a horribly written black backstory involving 2 twins who can't act and witches that have witch powers that make no goddamn. Yeah. Thank God they mentioned the Night Sisters, because the Night Sisters, the shit that the witches do in this episode, I don't even imagine the Night Sisters would do. Thank God for Asajj Ventress and Talzin and actually witches that are competent in this show. But back to the show. So they're kind of just looking for this Vergence and the Force. We get the thing where Saul discovers the children, blah blah blah. Squid Game Man's good in this episode. I think this is his worst episode. I think that unfortunately this is his worst episode of the show that he's acted in, because maybe this is the first episode he was in, but he is just not strong in this episode compared to the rest of the show. And his motivations for the twins makes no goddamn sense. Qui-Gon was attached to, Qui-Gon still kept his distance from Anakin until he warmed up to him like a father. In this one, it's kind of like, Soul's acting like, oh, I need to twins. We need to save them now. And I'm like, why? The witches? I mean, they do establish that. Is it the right thing to take from these witches, or are these witches actually evil? I think they're evil, and I hate this about the show too. They're trying to make the Jedi. Listen, I told this. I had an idea about actually making the Jedi evil, in that it isn't all the Jedi, but it is one of the Jedi. I would say Indara. You could easily, and this might be in my rewrite, but she's more of a collaborator with the Republic politicians than she is a Jedi. That would have made sense. But no, the Jedi are justified in what they do in this show. For the most part. we'll get to what I think. For one, the witches kind of violate any trust by basically manipulating, and possessing Torben in a horrible fashion, mind you, in a horrible, horrible way. Uh, um, and yeah, that's kind of the thing that happens. And there is Osha and the twins. Again, they want to like see if Osha wants to come. We've seen this. It's episode 3, basically. But they know the witches are trying to tell Osha that who can't who she's basically faking it. I see. I'm having a hard time just describing the show because it's just not. I want to talk about it, but I don't. Mm, I haven't felt such a hatred towards a show. I don't even want. This should be positive. We should be talking positive. I was negative on Ahsoka. I accept that. I was a little too negative. Now that I look back on Ahsoka, I rather watch Ahsoka. I forgive that show for all its sins. I feel like Carrie Ann Moss Trinity is wasted in the show. She's pretty okay compared to some of the actors. Still, wasted character, wasted actress. Especially if you're a fan of the Matrix. I'm a fan of the Matrix films. Without describe, like if you've seen this show, you probably know what happens. The witches, okay. Let me talk about the biggest complaint besides the metal detector. There's also some really bad CGI in the show. I don't believe, I'm starting to believe that there's some money laundering involved in the making of this show. Because there's a scene that, I kid you not, there is a scene, you probably know what I'm talking about. There's a scene where Saul is on a speeder bike. I wonder if I could find the clip. And it looks straight out of a fan film. I swear to God. I swear to mother. I swear to mother's God. It looks straight out of a. Also, another thing I noticed about this episode, when it seems like characters kind of just teleport. Oh, here it is. I found it. All right, you gotta see this. It's a clip from the show. You just have to see this shot right here. Here we go. Okay, let's do it again. Woo! Woo! Okay, I got a kick out of myself, but the shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the director of the show, he has a thing where he teleports characters from one place to the other. They somehow Saul is climbing the top of the mountain, and then the next thing he's on the top of a peak, and quickly, or one thing the Jedi's in the forest, and then the next thing the Jedi's at the witch coven. Also, they break in, and they break into It's driving me insane. It's driving me insane. This show is making me insane. I can't. I'm becoming a Tasmanian devil. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like one shot, he's climbing the wall from Game of Thrones, and the next thing he's on the top of the peak, like he just climbed Mount Everest. I don't know if it's the design of the. I have the image here. I don't know if it's the design of the. Yeah. See. Okay. Let me see. Get this up here. Yeah. There you go. Okay. See. Okay. So one image, he's right here, and then the next shot, literally next shot, he's up there. Like there is no cohesion. There's no weight in the direction. It's just like at times. At times, I was just feeling insulted by all this. It's like you go up, you go down. It's we're getting to the worst part of the show, which is with the witches. Which hold on, let me read the comments. Hopefully, my rant and all right. So, imagine Qui-Gon Jinn pulling out a metal detector. Yeah, yeah. I think Osha and May is meant to be the chosen ones, but filed and they made Anakin so dumb, man. Yeah, yeah. This show is so bad, it's actually insane. Yes, this is bad. This is low tier. Haven't watched it, but is it true that it's worse than episode 3? I think it is. I think it's the worst piece of Star Wars media I ever watched. If you want, I'm not tooting no horns or anything. Um, the Jedi have flaws, but this goes too far off course. Too much witches sympathizing too with how the witches are evil. What's there to sympathize? They're evil. They're clearly hiding something. They possess Torben. I mean, the Jedi were wrong to break in. The only thing the Jedi did wrong was break into the the uh, the whatever, or what Torben does in the horribly written fashion later on. But um, the Jedi's have flaw, or the witches are absolutely evil. Yes, I agree with that, dude. When Souls on the Speeder, LOL. Ha ha ha! Your laugh. This show is maybe worse than Rebels. Not sure. Rebels was really bad. From a point of view, some people like that show. But again, it's this. This is the show where I just can't. Like, this is what the show hinges on. You need to know that. It hinges on this backstory of why the twins joined this Sith guy and so forth. And even that is because of the way it's written, the way it is just it is just it's just is like we're supposed to like accept the fact that we're supposed to give a shit about these twins. If I was Saul, I would let both of the bridges break. Clearly, May starts the fire and she's has some dark side in her from the beginning. But we need to the worst part for me is this part, which I do not understand from a fundamental point of view. Like the fundamentals. I don't know what the hell just happened from this show. But we need here, I'm gonna show you the scene. So this is where, May comes out and the Jedi, they wanted to get the twins, and obviously the witches don't want the twins because there's some kind of ceremony going on. May comes out, then this happens. I swear to God, I don't know what happens. Oh my God. Wow. This is supposed to be. This is Star Wars. This is Star Wars. Put that in your brain. This is Star Wars. I People can like this show, but I think there is people can like the show, people can appreciate it, people can talk whatever bullshit lore they want to create out of their ass. Go ahead. Don't tell me that. Don't tell other people that. I don't defend. This is in my opinion, this is irrehensible. This makes no fucking sense. And then you feel bad about it because they make Saul like seem like a bad guy because he killed her. You know, it's like why the Jedi are bad. You let I was gonna let her go by becoming a smoke monster.
Is going to let Osha go. It's what she wants. She just
Oh, oh my god. Oh my god. I've seen discussion. Let's go on to another subject. I wonder if can I bring up like a PowerPoint? Wait, free. Okay, PowerPoint online. So like is there like a discount PowerPoint? Fine, let's just go Google. Let's go to Google Docs then. All right. It's crits. It's Everest Playhouse. Um. All right. Acolyte. The let's see heading. Let's try 72. All right. Acolyte criticisms. Acolyte criticisms. Or actually, no. Why the Acolyte? Shit. Fuck. All right. I'm getting pissed off now. Okay. Why the Acolyte doesn't work. All right. This is gonna be my uh this is gonna be my shit thing, my bullet points of why the show so far has not griped me and any other people. uh this episode will be my like specimen, like I'm opening like a frog basically. But um let's talk about, all right, first of all, main, let's change font a little bit. Okay, first point, the setting. The setting does not work. 100 years, well, is set at the end of the High Republic, 100 years before this, before the prequels. Yeah, it's clear that other than maybe some references like cortosis or something, there's clearly a disconnect with there's clearly like the showrunner Leslie Headland does not care at all about respecting. The Plagueis isn't canon, but to many people it is. It is just that they don't want to touch it, and that pre prequels era is kind of sacred. I mean, lately The Living Force came out, and that was a pre-prequel. They have some other pre-prequel stuff, canon-wise, like that Qui-Gon stuff. But again, that's like that kind of feels like just a soft reset of some of the stuff, like the old the old books with Qui-Gon. I think it's New Jet. I'm trying to remember the one with Xanatos, and then Obi-Wan becomes Qui-Gon's apprentice, and they go against Xanatos. It's kind of like a soft reboot of those stories and Shatterpoint and stuff, and that's fine. That's fine. But this clearly is trying to set up stuff involving Plagueis and Tenebris. They are not utilizing that. They are going through loopholes, invalidating some of the Force, invalidating canon, not being careful with retcons. Not being careful with retcons, getting Pablo Hidalgo to sign off on Kia di Mundi. You could say, well, his age was never canon, but also, okay, setting. So, showrunners nepotism. A lot of what I see into this show. Oh, actually, before we get to that one, the show's purpose. Okay, so the show's purpose so far with this episode has been meaningless. There's the Old Republic, which it's its own setting and whatnot. There's I would say a lot of the media we've seen, like The Mandalorian, that show ended up having a purpose because it's supposed to expand the New Republic, and The Mandalorian's a cool character, expands lore. That purpose, Book of Boba Fett, purpose is Boba Fett, even though the show didn't technically work. Still, the Mando and Luke scenes are the best Star Wars you've ever seen. Ahsoka is really more of just an extension of Mandalorian, building a kind of a Filoni verse thing. Same with Andor. Andor's building up the Empire, a more realistic look at it. It works because it's not like it's jabbing at the Imperial age, but it's taking risks, but not too risky, is what I mean. It's more of a grittiness of it's showing the grittiness of the Empire, like Rogue One did. So yeah, Andor. Of all these shows, this show's purpose, I call into question. What is the point of this show? To show the High Republic. Is that it? So far, they have not shown anything in the High Republic other than this is some lame ass murder mystery that isn't even a murder mystery, other than it is a. They haven't even showed the they haven't even showed like the world building of the most world building I got from this was the first episode. The Acolyte has been this really more about this own Sith guy and these twins. The show's purpose falls apart when the twins, because the twins are meaningless to this show because of their the the their backstory is so poorly told, and the motivations of like Soul's motivations to get the twins is so hammed and. But I will say we now know what the purpose was of these twins. These twins are made to show. I'm guessing the show's purpose is to show it's gonna be Plagueis around Plagueis and stuff. And that will be the last episode of the show. I think it's gonna be the last episode of the show. Just again, poorly written, no one cares. Horrible purpose of the show. Okay. And if I'm again, I'm trying to get this out of my head. If I'm sounding like all crooked and stuff and not making sense, then I'm just trying my best to convey what showrunner nepotism. All right, this showrunner, she approved this story. She approved it. She she wrote it. She held it like a baby. She let it. She didn't write. All right. I'll say this about Leslie Headland. She is a good director. Her episode of Acolyte that she directed was pretty good, even though I hated the writing. Um, but she didn't write the whole show. She had some other people direct it, and this guy, the directing is by the same guy who did episode 3 in this one, but it's not as bad as episode 3. Again, the show this episode in particular falls apart because of the writing and story. But I have seen, and by the way, somehow the Jedi are able. I gotta bring this up. Obviously the Wookiee gets possessed by the Jedi after it kills it. But before we get back to the document, I have to say, how low can you go to show that these witches all died? There's Abigail Thorne, by the way. Philosophy tube. That was also kind of jarring, but that's nothing. Nothing against that actress or something. I just noticed that. This coven of witches, they get killed because Trinity's able to unlink is able to save her Wookiee friend, Jedi friend, using the Force, and they all die. They all have a stroke. Come on. That's another poorly written. But back to it. It's another poor writing and whatnot. Again, showrunner nepotism. This is, I think, the creator of this show self-reflecting what she wants out of Star Wars in her own way. What she wants from Star Wars. I'm not going to bring up the whole like LGBTQ, there's controversies and stuff and what people think and whatnot and whatever. And, maybe some woke. I think there is some wokeness and maybe some agenda here and there. That's not what I think of the nepotism. I mean, she literally has her wife playing, literally playing like the green Force lady. And in my opinion, that just shows how she's the worst, and she's the worst acted character in the show, besides the twin, the kid actress. That shows. I also feel like, and don't put me on, don't call me homophobic or whatnot. I feel like this whole witch coven thing with the twins is her self-projected image, is her what she wants. This whole thing is her kind of her it's her, I don't know how to describe it, but it's what she, you know my problem with the witches, I just feel like this is just her self-projecting herself into Star Wars. This coven of witches. And it's not to say that there could be she wants to basically she wants to be the one to create the chosen one before Anakin. So she's going to do that in her own way and say, well, this and that. That was not good. Say this and that. I don't really want to like offend people with some of my takes. You know what? I'm going to be totally honest. I think the lesbian space witches is herself projecting herself. She wants to make it her own Star Wars. She wants to be the one that creates Anakin, the origins, and maybe like have Plagueis introduced. It's because of her ideas and her, it just doesn't work. It just does not work. And no one says there could these, the mothers, just the purpose of these witches make no effing sense. No effing sense. See, I've gone on a rant already. We're going on 45 minutes of just nonstop yapping about this episode. Oh, I think we have 7 people. All right. What up, Rossi? All right, we got a lot. I'm gonna read the chat now. Okay. All right. Tube Gut. I see you've been typing away, my friend. Let me read all your comments. Some people like the show too. LOL. Yeah, I mean that's good, but I think they're making a stretch a lot to defend some of the things in the show. And I mean a huge stretch. Like people, I mean, I saw some Twitter responses clapping at the whole man. That witch, she's a badass, and I'm like, oh, really? She's a horrible character. You think that? Oh, you do you. Um, at least this show has some adult themed and realism. Adult themed. I mean, killing one character is one thing, but there is there childlike BS and plot armor in Rebels. You're comparing an anime Tube Gut. Before I continue reading your comments, you should not compare Rebels to this. Rebels is a cartoon show mainly for kids. This is a show that was the whole point of this show is for it's supposed to be for just fans like my demographic basically. It's just it doesn't work. Although don't I don't think it would be fair to compare Rebels, which is mainly for kids, but it kind of has some adult themes in there too. I feel like there's some adult themes, at least towards the regular Star Wars spectrum of things. Um, Realism, as in lightsabers actually kill and so on. Yeah, I understand. I think every post Lucas show was written just to piss him off. I see Acolyte is no exception. Number one, it isn't the EU. Yeah, I agree with that. The setting is within Disney canon, yet they're referencing EU things. And Tenebris is apparently canon. You need to know that. Tenebris from Plagueis is canon. Uh, just remember that. Tenebris is apparently canon in Disney canon. What's it to say that the Plagueis novel, other than some references to the EU novel, I think I'm going to be honest with the Plagueis novel. I'm going to say this. At this point, like Hair of the Empire, more so than Hair of the Empire, a lot of Star Wars fans consider Darth Plagueis to be the holy Bible of Star Wars literature. And for so long, it hasn't really been affected by the new canon stuff. There's some contradictions, yes, but that's in every novel. But it so far stays its lane in Star Wars Disney canon, and the the big here's the big thing. I will throw monkey shit at a fucking window if they do this stuff. If they have Plagueis next week played by a generic British actor or just any actor, and then they call that Plagueis, or what if it's Snoke? Well, it's not going to be Snoke, but what if it's like a Snoke like entity that Plagueis is? If he's in the next week's episode, I will throw monkey shit at a window. I swear. But the fact that they're just I feel like they're just cherry picking stuff from canon to say, "Oh, remember this Cortosis," which is cool. Cortosis is cool to finally see it utilized in live action. Yes, but the way it is utilized, it's like, is the planet that Chimera is he on Baldemic? We'll have to see next week. But let me go back to well, Lucas did change the Force in the prequels. Yeah, but that's Lucas. This is Disney. It's Lucas is the creator of Star Wars. He has every right to do what he wants to do. There's backlash against that back then involving the Force. This one See, so many people are embedded with the idea that Anakin was the chosen one. He's the hero. He's the main character of Star Wars. He is Star Wars. Anakin, Darth Vader. He is the story of Star Wars. And if you're gonna have this shit say, well, no, there was actually two other twins that came before him. They were born through these lesbian space witches. It's like, yeah. And by the way, they found out the Vergence in the Force using metal detectors. Yeah, that's what happened. I don't think Lucas would ever come up with something so mind-bogglingly stupid. See, I'm getting frustrated the more I talk. I think it's a misrepresentation of the Force and Anakin as a character. Back to so I'm not sure if you can delve that deep into that point. Yes, I agree with that. I think if it's Lucas rules, you follow Lucas's rules. You don't change the Force. You can add stuff like Filoni does with Ahsoka, with the whole like son and the daughter and stuff. That was Lucas approved. That's fine, and they're gonna expand on that. Or Abeloth. Abeloth seemed reasonable. Force monster. It seems like they're going that way with. It seems like they're going that way with. Oh yeah. Let me get like a core picture here. It seems like they're going that way with Ahsoka season 2. But okay, back to reading the comments. I wish the Acolyte felt more like a mystery thriller. I thought that would have been so good, especially with Master Soul. When I get back from a hiatus, we're gonna I'll have a video up for that, which will be in a couple weeks, or maybe a month. Plagueis episode 1 will definitely be finished by the time I get back. I'm again, if people haven't heard my announcement, kind of during my rant, I am moving right now, so they should have made Jedi Master Soul the main character. Yes, he is technically the main character in the show. It's just more about the dumb twins. The twins are the worst characters. I think they're one of the worst characters in Star Wars, bar none. I mean, Jar Jar has nothing on these two. I mean, Osha. Okay, ask me this. Osha just stands around till the plot needs her to move, and when she does move, something happens. I mean, Yord got killed, and I mean, no one cares for Yord, but she went back because she wanted to save Saul, and she did, and Yord got killed. But for most of that episode, she was just standing still like a moron till Yord said, "Let's go." It's horrible. Tube Gut says this is similar purpose to expand context on a period of time and what things looked like. Yeah, but I don't feel that way with the show. This is not world building. Expand context. I'm not sure you can world build in 7 episodes. Oh boy, Tube Gut, man, you've been having some interesting questions. Are you telling me that Mandalorian season 1 and 2 was not world building? That was that whole show. Mandalore. Whoa, Tube Gut. This whole show, you can world build. You just need to be more efficient about it. Again, the purpose of the show is to be about these two twins during it. Again, this was made just to sell the High Republic, and it fails in even doing that because the High Republic seems pretty disinteresting compared to the prequel era. All right, back to you would need seasons. I doubt Plagueis will be in the show. Man, I can't wait. I'm solely interested, Starlight, to see you proven wrong next week. If well, you could be right. You know, I'll give you credit if you're right. But if Plagueis or Tenebris is in next week episode, ooh, we will have to see. I think they wanted to tell a Star Wars themed story with inclusion. I'm not justifying the writing or actual shit show. No, that was probably one of Kristen Harloff, who I like to watch, and he had that Collider rant about not going to Disneyland. I like listening to him sometimes. He says that this origins. He says this is not what the show was pitched on. I totally agree. The pitch for this show is much different than what we're seeing on screen. Does anyone agree with that? Tell me so in the comments. Do you think? Let's make a poll here. Can someone? I'll make a poll. Do you think this show isn't what was pitched? There you go. We got a poll going. All right, back to reading the comments. Rossi, Doodoo, Poodoo, what up, Rossi? Tube Gut, they could have done EU with inclusion. The EU had a lot of inclusion. There, see, this whole like it's all marketing and stuff that they're trying to make. It's not even the fact inclusion should be a natural thing. It shouldn't be something where you shove someone's people face in the screen. It's like, hey, Star Wars with inclusion. Ha, look. There's lesbian space witches. Oh, no one would get mad that there was I don't think anyone would really get mad if there was lesbian characters in this. It's the fact that they're kind of like the whole idea of the twins being created for the force through lesbians. It just speaks nepotism more than inclusion. Because it's like Leslie Headland wants to do her own version of the force compared to what George Lucas wanted to do. And that's not me being homophobic. That's just what I see. And we need a reasonable, like, down to earth convo. There you go. Right, inclusion and LGBT themes are fine. Yep, I agree with that. It's just her fan fiction and it's bad. Yes, I agree with that too. Gut. We're almost done with your. She's projecting inclusion. Yes, she wants representation. A lot of people do. Well, that should be that should be a natural thing. Inclusion should be natural. You should it shouldn't be addressed. It should just be seen. The fact that this has to be, I mean, we've seen the interviews. They're clearly kind of just pandering at this point about the whole thing. It's like, oh, this is, yeah, and they're not even making sense by, I mean, they have Abigail Thorne, who is a male to female, and a trans actress, and she's involved with the women only witches coven. That, I mean, if you take the idea of that of her being a trans woman, why didn't she become the sperm donor for the witches? And I'm not. This was something. This was something that someone brought up to me. Well, it just kind of just doesn't make sense, or it's just again sometimes the inclusion just doesn't make sense, and it's not trying to be discriminatory. It's like, if you're gonna do this, you have to have it make sense. Just don't have it there. Have it work into the plot. Have it make it feel natural. And this was not natural. Lesbian witches aside, this episode was just horribly written. But back to what I was saying, nothing wrong with that, actually. I keep thinking of the Seinfeld episode, she, there's nothing wrong with being gay. I keep thinking of that episode, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Star Wars Rebels is okay. Steven, Star Wars should never be about bad guy showing his dong to an imprisoned girl. Yeah, he wants to. That's yeah. Anakin's attachments made sense. Souls makes 0 sense in context of episode 7. Yeah, Soul makes no. I liked his character a lot in the show. Him wanting to just rescue the twins and stuff, it makes no sense. it's just bad writing. And unfortunately, I think this is the worst episode like the actor is in that he's like it's just the dialogue just screams, kill me. Just kill me, please. Because he's trying his best, but this is the one episode he can't make the material work what he's given, and he's having a hard time trying to I haven't yeah that's the first complaint I have is this is the first episode he's kind of having a hard time with the English. This could have been the first episode they filmed though, not to dig into it. So he's kind of still trying to learn English, but no, he was pretty rough in this episode compared to the rest of the show, which is a godsend because I still think he's the best thing in the show. Rebels is great. Don't tell me you didn't cry when Kanan died. That was the most realistic portrayal of people grieving in Star Wars. I mean, yeah, but I mean, there is Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. There's a lot of grieving in that. There's a lot of grieving in that movie. Starlight, I love the Plagueis novel. A lot of people do. Steven Prince Zizor did that to Leia and had her stripped. Go figure. Yeah, yeah. I remember that. That was in Shadows of the Empire. In episode 7, they made Soul act like a pedo. Guy was acting like an obsessed teenager. Yeah, it didn't work for this episode. Again, by the way, hello to the chat who's joining us. Well, this is an honest, down to earth discussion about. See, we went from super negative to just talking about what does and doesn't work about the show. Mainly what doesn't work. But I'm glad everyone's joining in, and we're. I'm still reading the chat here. We got a lot of chat. And sex has always been in Star Wars. It's just this is kind of just where the sex appeal is kind of just awkward and weird and uncalled for. Tarkin showing his dong to Leia in her sail in A New Hope. That is what. Wait, Tarkin showed his dong in A New Hope? I hope that's a joke, right? Grand Moff Tarkin didn't show his dong to Leia in A New Hope. I'm face palming right now. I hope that's a joke. I hope that's a joke. Because that is like the funniest image in my head right now. Yes. Yes, princess. Soon we will have the rebellion fleet. Take a look at my dong. You'll find it the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. Did happen in the Lucas movie. Rebels is one of the worst shows I've ever seen. Then you must not watch a lot of shows. I shouldn't say that, but Rebels, really? Rebels is bad. I never felt Rebels was bad. I mean, it's just more for kids. It's a kid show. It's for the children. Or it's kind of become more of the casual Star Wars fan as time went on, but it was originally meant for children. Rossi says, I stand with Dave. Hold on. Shit, you guys are popping off. Stand with Dave. Rebels was insult to injury. Rebels has a way better story than Acolyte, and the characters actually make sense. I agree with that. I kind of like Yord, LOL. Yord just disappeared from the whole shit. Like Yord, the memes and stuff. Mando season 1 and 2 was a pass for me. Those are the best, in my opinion. Those are the best seasons of Disney Star Wars, besides the Mando episodes of Book of Boba Fett, and then Andor. And then maybe Ahsoka. We'll say Ahsoka follows that because Ahsoka's growing on me lately. I still think the last few episodes are not good. They're messy, but I'd rather watch them than this. Your Torben, yeah, basically, I agree with that. Tube Gut, you are trolling. Pass, as in I think it failed as a show. What? Hold on. You think Mando season 1 and 2 failed? Tube Gut, maybe. I think you. First of all, you say Rebels is a bad show. I mean, from a perspective, that's your opinion. Now you say Mando season 1 and 2 is not a good show at all. They're just bad. They failed. What? Come on, man. Oh, come on. I hope you don't believe that. Then I don't know, Damn. Oh man. Acolyte is not a good show. I give it a 3, not a 4. Acolyte is the worst Star Wars show ever. I agree. I just don't want Acolyte to ruin Plagueis. It probably already is. It's already ruined the prequels a little bit. Do you think they suffered from reshoots? Personally, I don't think this was reshot. But I really want to ask, who approved these scripts? Who approved the show? I mean, the show was pitched as, in the poll. I think it was pitched differently. But I think Leslie Headland, her story group, they really did not get. I think at this point, can we all agree the Lucasfilm story group is just. I feel like, and then at times I even thought, some of the stuff like the speeder scene looked. This does not have a 180 budget. It does not. I feel like maybe there's some money laundering going. All right, back to reading the comments. I don't think it was reshot. They're following. If it was reshot, then we would see some. So far, I think it was shot as it was because the writing is all over the place and whatnot. Anytime they bring back EU elements, they ruin them. Yeah, they better not have Plagueis in this. They will ruin it. I'm not looking forward to next week. Acolyte took 4 years to make, which is mind blowing. How did it take 4 years to make? The twins are literally the worst thing about the show. Both are irritating, extremely likable. Of course, the EU had some inclusion, but still mostly appealed to. Hold on. It mostly appealed to white male hero themes. What? Where are you getting this information? There a lot of boys grew up liking. A lot of boys grew up liking. I mean, a lot of boys and stuff grew up liking the Star Wars EU, and because Star Wars was more kind of a boys thing, but there are some girl fans too. I mean, Mara Jade's cool. She wasn't sexualized. She was sassy and she kicked back against Luke. I liked Mara Jade, and a lot of female fans love Mara Jade, and it appealed to male. That I'll have to remember that. Because that's quite a claim. I mean, anything Star Wars appealed to us back then. Anything that was cool, that's kind of like a general assessment. There could have been modifications to characters and more. Why? Lando was, he got his own book series. There could have been modifications to characters. Like what modifications? Like what? We're gonna have to. Lando is dope. LOL. basically, go woke or go broke. Acolyte will end up as the worst rated Star Wars show ever. Hey man, hope you're well. I enjoyed your Plagueis movies more than Acolyte. Thank you, Steven. Prior to Disney, we had incestual kissing and harem only relationships. LOL. Come on, man. Harem incestual kissing. You gotta be trolling. You gotta be trolling. You have to be trolling Tube Guy. I can't take that seriously. If you're talking about Luke and Han and stuff, I mean that's a joke, but that was before Luke decided they were brother and sister. And it was more of a thing to get back at Han. There was never really a relationship considered with Han, with Luke and Leia. It was always going to be Han and Leia. Incestual. Yeah. I'm sure if they actually knew they were brother and sister, they wouldn't do that. But there was no relationship between them. It was just more of a kickback. We need to. That is old news. That is really old news. Ugh, come on, that has to be a troll comment. That has to be a troll comment. You kind of broke my brain with that one because I can't. I'm gonna stop. I'm kind of gonna stop taking you seriously, Tube Gut. Incestual relationships. Yo, what up, Corvus? Tarkin showing dong. Yeah, Tarkin showing dong. Hold on. I think I missed one. Watching Project Necromancer and the Bad Batch made Starkiller being cloned more sense. Starkiller isn't coming into canon. Stop trying to make it happen. Nothing against people in the chat that want Starkiller to come back. Starkiller is not coming back. He is not coming back. Let's end that discussion. And if he does come back, good. But he ain't coming back. I personally think Starkiller from I personally think the Starkiller from The Force Unleashed 2 isn't intact a clone, but the original Galmark. Actually, Sam Witwer, I went to the convention a couple weeks ago. He revealed what happens at the beginning of The Force Unleashed 3. And it involved some trial against Vader. It's kind of interesting to hear. It's just they brought Thrawn into Rebels and ruined him. No, Thrawn was good in Rebels. They brought him into Ahsoka and they ruined him. You got backwards. They brought him in the Rebels. He's the same Thrawn I remember from EU. They bring him into Ahsoka and he's become a comic book villain a la Avengers or MCU. Really bad. Not really written well. They should have never done that if they wanted to keep the appeal only for kids. Kids didn't even know who Thrawn was till they brought him the Rebels. Tarkin showing dong. Someone's gonna have to fact check because I don't know if that's a joke. I thought that was a joke, but is there some people that believe he shows dong, or is that just a joke? Rebels isn't great, but not great either. I think the kid, it's more for kiddie, but it gets better as Thrawn gets in there and stuff. Yor tried to riz his Padawan and got his neck snap. Yeah, I agree with that. They threw shade. Hold on. Tube Gut. I'll get to your comments eventually, Tube Gut. I'm still reading. I like Clone Wars better. Everyone likes Clone Wars. I don't think any new Star Wars shows. Man, you guys are on a riot with the chat right now. Baby Yoda would not have taken off. I might have to. Rebels is by far the worst. Blah blah blah. It's been a rough time. Blah blah blah. I just won't recommend any of these shows that doesn't sound fun. There's a tons of fan films I follow. Hetero. I know what hetero means. Tube Gut. It's kind of just a generalization of that that you're doing. The show is seriously so confusing. This show's just shit, Corvus. It's shit and doesn't care about the story, and why should I care? Mara Jade was white and hair. Well, what does that have to do with anything? Mara Jade was created to be a romance, a foil, like a friendly foil to Luke. What does that have to do with anything? Her being white. You think she should? She could have been anything. She could have been black. She could have been Chinese. She could have been, she could have been Indian. No one will, or she could have been Arabic. I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. She was a human. It didn't matter if she was white. What up, the Senate? How you doing? Not saying I don't like character. She's a cool character. Cornhorn, blah blah blah. Cornhorn. For saying Cornhorn could have been something other than a white male. I could go on into a rant. I don't think Cornhorn was like these characters. I've been getting this info from following Star Wars since 1990. They knew they were siblings. They were in a relationship in Return of the Jedi. Wasn't there a homosexual Mandalorian couple in the EU? I think there was. Let's check that out. All right. Yes, there is a gay Mandalorian couple in the EU. That destroys your argument, Tube Gut. There was in the books. There is a gay couple in the EU. Can we just stop that argument now? That there was no homosexuals in the EU. um. It's kind of just a weird topic. It's kind of become a kind of a weird discussion now. Back to Force Unleashed 2 is pretty hilarious. Ron reeks of Scooby Doo villains and rebels, but each their own. We knew who Fron was, though. That's the point. I know Tarkin was shirtless in one comic. We should have got rebels in the 90s so younger people would have made it easier time. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Also, it would have been interesting to see if we got some older games to complete, like Battlefront 3, the Darth Maul game. Yeah, it would have been interesting. Is chat getting toxic? No, it's not. I've dealt with worse. She could have been, yeah, and that's the point. Fuck humans. We need more alien protagonists. That's why I love Plagueis so much. Humans are boring as hell. I agree. Maestro, no, it isn't. To be honest, I think Rebels was really good. All right, I finally caught up with the chat. All right. Let's go back talking about the episode. Oh man. Shoot. Oh man, you guys were on a rapid fire there with the chat. Okay, so Soul kills Soul kills whatever. The May burns down the temple. The witches die of force stroke because the Wookiee was disconnected from them all. Torben's like, I want to go home, Coruscant, like here, and then Saul wants to answer for his actions. Torben was responsible too, but I forgot to mention, Saul's the one that let May fall from the bridge because he couldn't save both of them, but he chose Osha over May because May had some dark force in her, or he probably sensed it. By the way, I thought that whole sequence where he's like trying to save the bridge was horrible because I didn't understand why the twins didn't just move off the bridge, like back away from each other. May, Osha, May, Osha, May, Osha, May, Osha. Oh, it's really bad, really. May, Osha. There's also some like they're also apparently like one being from what they did, the scanning and stuff. But at this point, I'm like, I don't care. It's like it makes no fucking sense. They're just again the hat pulling shit from their hat. But the Jedi, people are trying to say the Jedi are evil, and no, it was mainly the witches are evil. I think that's a stupid argument, and I hate the apologists on Twitter trying to say, "Oh no, the witches were in the right," and I'm like, no, they were kind of doing some dark shit. I would think that the witches might be, the mother witch might be the. Oh my god. I just realized something. No, I don't buy that. No. Okay, I'll bring it up. What if? Okay, let me see. Let me go back a bit. So, what if this witch is still alive, and she's the one that's been teaching Chimere to be the dark. She's the Dark Lord. Um, could that be a possible theory? That's still horrible. It's still horrible. I still think it's gonna be either Tenebrous. It's either gonna be someone new, Tenebrous, or Plagueis next week. And I don't think Plagueis is gonna be immune. He's gonna be a British guy. That's what I'm gonna feel like. And I think that's when everyone's gonna do a collective fuck the show, and that'll be the end of the Acolyte. Hopefully they don't give it another season and whatnot, and Leslie Headland goes back to making her amazing indie shows that no one watches. Because I don't want her to do Star Wars anymore. This is the worst piece of Star Wars media I watched. It's kind of broken me, as you can hear from the tone of my voice. I'm also tired from trying to catch up with all the comments, but I like to read everyone's take on stuff. So let's go back to the comments here. Darth Maul game has such a missionary puberty. Sam Witwer voicing Maul. I liked Saul. He was the most competent unit until this episode. Saul was horribly. Yeah, he was the. He was definitely the. He was definitely kind of. He definitely kind of falls in this episode. Only Jude Law can save us now. He's our only hope. Skeleton Crew. I forget that show's coming out. Skeleton Crew reminds me. Has anyone seen Star Trek Prodigy? Or people watch Star Trek still? The concept of Skeleton Crew reminds me of Prodigy. I haven't watched Prodigy because I don't. I've quit New Star Trek. It's a lost cause compared to Star Wars now. Uh, you know, yeah, yeah. If you think Star Wars has it bad, Star Trek has it worse. Star Trek is ran by a person who doesn't understand anything Star Trek, and it's pretty much a dead franchise at this point. But Star Trek Prodigy, the kid show they have, I've seen some interesting stuff from that. It gives me some nostalgia from Voyager and stuff. But the plot of Skeleton Crew, where these kids find a ship and Jude Law goes with them and whatnot, it reminds me so much of Prodigy. So I'll have to. I'll actually check that out. I'll give it a chance. I don't think it'll be Acolyte bad. I think after this episode, I don't think anything will be Acolyte bad, unless they do some. They just don't. The power of one, the power of the two, the power of many. Yes, I did listen to the show Hunter book or audiobook. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I get that they lied, but you're telling me Torben and Soul become masters after that, and then 5 years later, Torben is super depressed, so he just. Yeah, the timeline makes no fucking sense. To be honest, the Jedi talking or kidnapping children, to be honest, the Jedi taking or kidnap children for sensitive children from their families, or the parents have no choice, is kind of unethical from my point of view. The Jedi were hold on. The Jedi were never going to take the twins. They they discussed this in the episode, and as much as I hate the episode, the Jedi want to, Osha had a choice and she wanted to do this. And the witches tried to coach her to just fail. But Osha wanted to go with the Jedi. It is, again, it's her choice. They're not trying to kidnap, but they did offer, come with us, you're a Jedi, you have force abilities. They never kidnapped. Um you see, they wanted to save, I think, the twins because they thought there was some dark shit going on with the witches. And I think, yeah, there was some dark shit. I mean, they start turning into smoke monsters, so of course Saul's gonna try to rescue, but his motivations made no sense in this episode. They did not try to kidnap the I don't think they tried to kidnap the children in this because they made sure, but they were still like cautious of the witches, and then the witches were doing some dark shit. Um, the Zabrak woman is the Sith. That's been my day one theory. Okay, Senate. Too many chefs in the kitchen. I wish they had stuck with Filoni and Favreau. Kenobi and Acolyte sucked. Kenobi was quantity over quality. I talked about this last time. Acolyte is, I don't know what Acolyte is. It has no purpose other maybe just being like a spearhead of the New Republic, which no one liked the High Republic. No one liked the High Republic to begin with. The Skeleton Crew gives me a live action Resistance feeling, if you get what I mean. I don't know how I feel about that. Well, again, like Acolyte, people say, well, wait for the trailers. And we saw the trailers, and it just answered people's fears that this show looks shit. And then Skeleton Crew, we've only seen pictures. I've not seen like a trailer of Skeleton Crew. Kenobi is still the worst thing to me. No, Kenobi's bad, but this is worse. No one can convince me that this is worse. This is the worst piece of Star Wars media. It's worse than Last Jedi. I definitely think this episode and episode 3 is worse than Last Jedi. Again, people can like this stuff, but at this point, I just think if you like this episode, you just like any Disney slop. Please, people shouldn't be apologists for this show. This is not really written well. It makes no sense. Please don't just embrace this. My philosophy is if your show doesn't fundamentally work, then you should push back against that. This does not fundamentally work. The plot of this show doesn't work. The flashback doesn't work, and again, the motivations, Saul like randomly just wants to get the twins the whole episodes for no god reason. That is a good example of a fundamental that doesn't work. Why does Saul care? Why does he want these twins? uh why do these events happen? Because, and why, again, a witch becomes a smoke monster and then gets stabbed, and then she says, I was going to free May and Osha. That made no sense. We just saw she was about to become a monster. You fundamentally can't make us sympathize with a witch if she was about to become a monster. There is how, just how. You don't try to make the Jedi fundamentally. If people like this and they're, wow, whoa, dude, this looks so great, man, dude, Disney's black, dude, it's Leslie Headland. I just think you're eating Disney slop at this point. If you want, I can give you a Mickey Mouse spoon or a Darth Vader spoon, and you can eat your slop with some, add some salt there. Um, add some salt. I would say the bad acting and stuff. Your slop would be horrible story, and the salt would be bad acting and writing, and you have all the flavors for some good old slop. And the taste is bad, but because it's your favorite brand, you don't question it. You just you buy a you brought you buy a Costco bulk. You buy of Disney slop. People like Disney slop. What can I say? And sometimes there's a nice tangy flavor of Disney slop, like episode 5 with the lightsabers. Disney slop, man. It can taste good, and then sometimes it can taste like shit. Um, No, not from the show. Like in general, like take one story where a mother sued the Jedi for apparently kidnapping their daughter. What? That's a story? You'll have to send that to me because I'm interested in that. I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but it felt like Corey flew away, whereas everyone also fell over. She might be alive. Yeah, I think she's gonna be the Sith Master. I'm making that theory now. It's not gonna be Plagueis. It's gonna be her. It's so predictable. I should have saw that plot point right away. That being said, if it is Plagueis, we'll have to see. Kenobi ruined Obi-Wan and Vader. Hard to top that. I don't think they ruined Vader. I think Vader was done pretty good in that show. Um, it did it ruin Obi-Wan as a character? No, it was Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan still felt like Obi-Wan. He was just, there was just things in that show. It was more directing and writing. Vader, the thing with Vader, though, Vader's like, I think Vader was justified in the portrayal in Kenobi. Um, it's just, Vader, when he goes into the village and kills all those people to lure Kenobi out, that was Darth Vader. You can't just say it ruined Vader. He literally is killing villagers to lure out his arch nemesis. Killing villagers, innocents, and for the most part it does work. He knows Kenobi's there, and I liked that, the statistic part of Vader. That was good. But then we get the horrible shaky cam fight scene with Vader and Obi-Wan. Not good. Obi-Wan still has PTSD that should be in line with his character at that point. Um, and then, but I think the reason why the big thing with Vader in Kenobi was the final episode where he actually accepts that I am Vader. Anakin is no more. He accepts his role as the Dark Lord of the Sith. Um, that nailed Vader too. Even though I hate the fight scene in the desert. It could have been done. I like the idea in the original Kenobi, like ideas that they fought on a ship. That would have been so much cooler than. But no, I don't agree that they ruined Vader or Kenobi. It's just everything surrounding Vader and Kenobi was not good. Reva, not good. Um, Reva, not good. Leia, okay at best. Not still. Directing, not great. Really, just a cheap show with characters we love, and I think everyone agrees with that. Cheap show. Dumb bullshit decisions by some of the characters. Oh, and then Reva again. Reva was used by Vader. That's in character with Vader. But the thing is, she survived somehow. That's where my issues with that show. Again, another issue why I have that issue with that show. I think Pixel Joker's Kenobi is gonna be fantastic. Yeah, I think so too. If it ever comes out, and that's not a jab at him. I just hope he releases it. So, when did they do that in the EU? I'd like to know. I still don't understand what Chimere has to do anything with this. Chimere's role in this could have made more sense. He's using this event to manipulate May, and that's kind of what they're going with it. They're just not writing it well enough for us to care. Reva just made Obi-Wan and Vader's roles redundant because she's kind of like she's the real second main character instead of Kenobi or instead of Vader. And that's where a lot of the issues come. Reva's just a horrible character. Can't change that when it comes to Kenobi. There were no breadcrumbs that implied Plagueis or Tenebris, so it wouldn't make sense. On this, there is breadcrumbs, Maestro Drake. At least implying Tenebris. and that is the kurtosis helmet. And then on the kurtosis helmet, and then on the planet where there are kurtosis mines, it's implied it. I think it's implied to be the planet of Baldemic from the beginning of the Plagueis novel. Those are the breadcrumbs to those I think are the breadcrumbs at least to hint Tenebris involvement in the show. But it could just be a bait and switch where they're just pulling things out of their ass and trying to just reference anything. Yeah, I doubt a majority of people even know who Tenebris is. Tenebris isn't going to be this biff if it is Tenebris. It's going to be an original. It's going to be like an original, something. It's all going to be recontextualized. I swear. I feel it. I feel it. All right. Back to what do you think of the SC-38 reimagined Obi-Wan fight? I'm in the minority. I think that's overdone. That fan film is overdone and pretty just it's not I think it's just too like over the top, especially when it's like a fight scene. There was an edit where someone just like sped up, they added like new sound effects and just sped up the effects of Vader, and like they did movement and stuff. I think I can bring it up. Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader. I felt that was more believable than SC-38. I thought that was more believable. Here you go. Here you go. I found it. Yeah, let me bring this up here.
The miracle is now complete. I am evil God.
You see, and that's pretty good. You could easily you could put that into I don't know, the douchebag put a watermark there, but you could put that in like a fan edit of you could easily just put that in the fan edit of A New Hope in that in like the special edition, and I would like that. Let's see. It's just the way it's editing. It's clever. I like that more than SC-30. I'm more of a guy that's more natural. It's like people can. You need to make things natural. Don't try to just combine the prequels. This edit makes it more in line with Return of the Jedi and so and so. Back to reading the comments here. There's a better edit. Yeah, this in it, that's better. You just edit out the watermark, yeah. 81's revisited version was gorgeous and well with the prequel saber blades. Kind of. I didn't like the Bow of the Heroes music and stuff. 81's Empire that Strikes Back is my favorite version of that movie though. I can't unsee SC-38. I finally finished the Dark Lord novel a couple months ago, and the OG reaction Obi-Wan to Vader being alive just made me sad. LOL. Yeah, it was really. I like that reveal too at the end of the novel. So, all right, let's finish this up. All right, so we talked about episode 7, and I've lost all hope for this show. I said I wasn't gonna watch anymore. Again, this time I got roped. I got pushed into watching this because of clearly the guy that he wanted to see my reaction to it, but he didn't realize some things either. And me and him, we agreed that this was the worst. This was the worst Star Wars we had seen in a while. I could again, I won't be on next week to talk about next week's episode. I'll be on a hiatus because I'm moving, and um, yeah, I'm gonna be on a hiatus because I'm moving. Hopefully, I can get to play. I can get my stuff set up and continue on Plagueis episode 1. Again, it's not. There's no cancellation. It's just gonna be delayed a little bit. Um, I'm also working on an Acolyte video, which I might release if I get the materials for it. I might release sooner than you think. But I kind of want to make it perfect, so it too might have to wait till I get settled into my new place. Um, it's gonna be a little quiet, so not a lot more streams. Um, I'll still be present in like theories chat and some other chats. But it'll be all quiet on the Western Front here. For, uh, I will probably post um like any final thoughts of Acolyte the next episode if it's a big fu or it's a big, it's time we stop giving a shit to this stuff, and uh it remains to be seen. uh um but with that being said, the ironic repeat of history: greatness takes time, we'll be waiting. Thank you. Tits fair if you didn't like episode 8 about to have this fandom in flames. It's already been in flames. I do think some of the hate is overblown. Like, it is bad Star Wars, but people, I think if you send threats to people, regardless of what you think about it, and I said that before, I think you're not a real fan of this show. No one sends threats. I don't, I've said I hate people that defend this stuff, and, you know, but I don't accept anyone that makes threats, regardless if you don't like the person talking about it or you don't like the person who supporting it. So we all need to be friends here, and we all need to agree, and it's all opinions. Uh, Personally, I think hopefully the backlash for the show, they don't do another season, and I just go back to Ahsoka. Just focus on the Ahsoka and stuff, and hopefully this will be forgotten over time, and it'll just be kind of just a black spot in the history of Star Wars. It's really just bad stars, exactly. Um, Hope the move goes smooth, man. We got hang in Discord. Yeah, yeah. If I get my stuff set up, yeah, we'll hang out in Discord and whatnot. Um, I don't want people to. I had almost like set up a GoFundMe, but I decided not to. Because I kind of want to just get through what I'm going on my own, which is how I feel about things. And uh, but I will say that maybe in the next few months, I want to kind of see if we can set up a thing where I can go to MegaCon in February. That's something I'm going to try to aim for. Hopefully, my situation is settled by the time. That'll be hopefully around October, November. That'll be my goal to set up a thing. See if anyone, could help me get to MegaCon, because I really want to go to that convention. If not, then we'll just do another Seattle Emerald Queen convention. But I kind of don't want to go this year, or next year, I should say. But yeah, that will be the goal, to try to go to MegaCon next year. It just hopefully my whole situation's settled by then. If not, then no. It's like no pushing till everything's settled. Then I can say, okay, everyone, let's try to go to MegaCon. It'll be our quest for next. It'll be our quest for next year. So, yeah, that's my goal. and also go to Universal Studios. But actually, that's a little too presumptive. Can that actually might be too presumptive? Can I even afford? Could people even afford? I don't know. Let's do it, Rossi. Oh yeah. That's gonna be cool. Yep. uh, yeah, yeah. Yep. That's gonna be my goal, Rossi. When I'm settled, when I know I'm ready, I was like, all right, well, let's try to this campaign to get over there. But right now, just not now is not the time. Um, uh, but I want to make sure I'm settled, and I want to make sure that we're back to status quo. We hit 15K. Yay! Clap. We hit 15K this week. Yeah. Everyone liked that the venomous video I did. Although the algorithm killed it now, we still made a pretty decent dent in the we got a lot of people have discovered our channel, and it's pretty good. We're growing. And hopefully we'll get to 20K in the next few months. That'll be my goal. And hopefully I'll get to 25K by the time MegaCon comes around. Uh and then it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be pretty awesome. Again, I can't presume or assume all this is gonna. Greetings, Alec Bar is sign. I'm about to sign off, just so you know. But make the orca kiss the Jedi. Orca. Yeah, I live in the place where all the orcas are. I live in the Pacific Northwest. So if people want to know, that's where the orca thing, because I live with near the orcas, so it's kind of become kind of a cultural thing. Orcas. Kiss, kiss. But I'm gonna end it here. I want to thank Devron Hassan, Maestro Drake, Rossi. Rossi, it's really bad Star Wars. Hope the Move, Corvus, the Senate. You guys were very talkative today. Tubegate. Thank you, man. You've been very talkative. You had a lot of cool questions, so I give you that. A lot of cool discussion on that. Stephen O, thank you for also joining. Starlight, my friend, I'm glad you guys always appear in my chat. Alvar 007, Toonbird, Edward, Ficon, Ancient Sith, my moderator. And yeah, so and forth. So I want to thank y'all for coming, and yeah, this show sucks. So I don't want to. I'm going to try to be more positive next, not but on this show, but just in general. Be more like I'll be smiling a bit more next time. So again, thanks you a lot. Of course, Drake. Of course. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and that'll be it from me. So, see ya. It's not the right one. It's not the right one either. I have some music for this. I have no music for this. This is my exit song for you. For you. The power of one. The power of two. The power of many. The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.